Breakout number 13. So as I said, I mean, last week was Interop, and it was pretty crazy, and things are still happening in Berlin. So I think this should be like sort of a nice and short and quick one, hopefully. And there is no like presentation or anything. I think we can just like discuss things that are like top of mind. So yeah, what did I'm still like sort of like gathering stuff around FOCIL and how it went during the interrupt. I think maybe some overall comments are well, first I think we had a nice FOCIL session. People like really liked it, and it was sort of like a very packed overview of what's happening around FOCIL during 1 hour. And I think the session was, I don't know, useful, and so that's cool. Then generally, like everyone I talked to was, I don't know, it really seems like there is like an overall general consensus on FOCIL being important. I don't know, you can see it across presentations, you can see it when you ask people what they think, whether they are researchers or core devs. I feel like everyone sort of like is on the same page and thinks FOCIL like is going to be like an important part of the future of the protocol. The only thing that's left to determine is like the urgency, and that's a bit more variable. Like some people think it should be included as soon as possible, like and it's very urgent. Some other people think it might be okay if it comes in the protocol a bit later. So that's really like the sort of like contentious part, but I would say on its importance and on whether it should be included in the first place is looking really good. So that's very nice, I think. Couple of comments. I think some people noticed that we actually might need a NIL limit in gas and not just in kilobytes. And that's to make it work with the provers in the future. Because if you don't limit per gas, then like basically you can include very worst case ILs for provers to deal with via FOCIL, which isn't like something we want. So we need to think about, I mean, changing the IL limit from kilobytes to gas. I don't think that's a big overhaul, to be honest. I think we just need to settle on like a value basically that's not too small. Hopefully it still covers like, I don't know, like all transactions that are usually included in a block today. I think that would be ideal. That was definitely the case with like the 8 kilobyte limit. So we can see whether it's like 2-3 million. Yes, I don't know. I'm wondering if you guys also have ideas about like the good size limit in gas that we should probably have. But I'll keep giving it some thoughts. Then good news, I think maybe I'll let Jihoon talk about this because he also has like insights, and he was the one telling me a lot about this. So but yeah, mostly like more clients interested in implementing FOCIL, which is always like a very good news and a good sign. So yeah, I'll let maybe Jihoon talk a bit more about this. And then the one thing I really wanted to mention is yeah, that we need to focus on tests. I've noticed in a couple of conversations that people are even mentioning, you know, maybe EIPs that are considered for Glamsterdam should have tests included in their like DevNet or like implementation for it to be even considered for inclusion. So I think we might need more of an effort on tests like in the following weeks, if possible. So I wanted to check with you guys on that. And unfortunately, Jacob was looking at the tests on the EL side, and he's not going to be able to continue working on this. So yeah, I think someone needs to step up. So I don't know if like anyone here is willing to do it. It also, I mean, you can also like just DM me and we can chat about it if you are ever interested. It will be definitely in collaboration with the Steel team. They said they will be like willing to help on that front. But yeah, basically on the CL side, I think Jihoon might refocus on tests on the CL, but we need someone on the EL side. So if anyone is willing to help there, that would be really good. And yeah, that was pretty much it. Let me know if you have questions about the interrupt or how it went generally. But yeah, other than that, I think Jihoon wanted to talk about a couple of things.
Yeah, thanks for sharing the update. Regarding the EL spec test, I can take it over. I'm planning to I expect I can finish the CL spec test in few weeks, like 1 or 2 weeks. My major bottleneck was filling up the holes in the spec test. Sorry, in the CL spec, and it's done. So I don't think it will take like much time. And I also met Guru from Hill's team yesterday, so yeah, I can take it up. And another feedback that I want to share that we had during the interrupt is that we might need to shift the freezing deadlines because over the time we expect to raise gas limit, and raising gas limit will increase. Raising gas limit might make local builders run out of time. So we want to, like, for example, currently we have 9 seconds deadline for our testers and 11 seconds deadline for builders. But we might want to move it to, like, let's say 10 seconds instead of 11 seconds to give local builders more time to update their payload. That's also we want to think about. And second, yes, Thomas?
Yeah, just about your last comment, I think you're completely right, and that's a good observation. I definitely think it should be included in tests. Like, look at different deadlines based on like the size of the block you would have to build for a local proposer, and you can always assume that, like, I don't know, sophisticated builders will be much faster anyways, or so yeah, I think that's a good comment, but it could be included as a test, just like as we try to actually, you know, increase the size of blocks that will be built by a local builder or proposer. We can just test this out and see whether the deadlines hold.
You mean after let's say if we have FOCIL Amsterdam, we want to decide to whether move the raising deadlines after we see how it goes in the real world, or are you suggesting to run some tests at the public DevNet and to figure out what would be the better freezing deadlines before we ship FOCIL?
Yeah, the second one. I think having an idea about like whether the deadlines will hold under like blocks with higher gas limits would be nice to have before we ship FOCIL, so we can prepare for what's next, because we are pretty sure like the gas limit is going to increase anyways. I don't think there is like a ton of uncertainty around this, so we might as well just like test it before we even ship it, so we don't have to like change the deadlines of FOCIL after like gas limit increases, or at least it's not like a blocker for any scaling things.
Yes, totally. So to summarize it, we want to have a good insights on 2 things. One is freezing deadlines, and the second thing is what was it? Jesus, I forgot. Could you help, Thomas? I just forgot what the other thing we want to test.
No, I think it's just
Right. Get
checking the
size
size
limit.
based on block size.
Yeah. Guess limit. Right. So we want to figure out those two things. Sorry. And then secondly, regarding the interop. So we, thanks to Ethan here, we onboarded a Lighthouse. So we have 5 clients that work in the interop. And then maybe we can invite Nethermind into the interop. Mark is also interested in working on that. So we might figure that out in this week or next week. And also looking at EPF cohort 6, I've seen like 3 to 4 people interested in developing FOCIL in Grandin and Nimbus. So after like few months, I expect to have like 9 out of 11 clients succeed in interop, which is really cool. And then, yeah, I think that's pretty much it for my end.
Nice. Yeah, that's really awesome. I think, yeah, even talking to some of the core devs that during the interrupt, some of the teams like didn't start implementing FOSL, but were feeling already quite strongly about wanting to cheer for it for the next fork. So yeah, I think, a lot of things are gonna be a bit more clear after the deadline for headliner is passed, which is like in a month or something. So yeah, it's nice to onboard more and more clients, but I think we'll all have more clarity exactly on the timelines for everything in not so long, which is nice. Okay. Does anyone else have something they want to share, or I don't know, questions about the interrupt? It was pretty packed. It was very dense, but I thought it was nice.
I'd like to raise the question about rebasing FOCIL spec onto Fulu. I don't know what other team thinks about that. Because, for example, in tech, we have all the Fulu boilerplate already merged in master, and unfortunately, the FOCIL brand started diverging. And I was thinking maybe we could rebase the FOCIL spec onto Fulu.
Yeah, that's a good question. How do you feel about waiting for the headliner or CFI sort of like decision before like rebasing everything on Fulu? Like, or do you think it's like quite urgent and we should do it like sooner?
I mean, the sooner we do it, the better. But if we're talking like a month or two, I mean, we can live with that. But my thought were like, even I mean, mm, even if we don't make it to Amsterdam, I guess we won't leave another fork without rebasing it. So in the end, maybe we will sooner or later we will end up doing that. So that's what I was thinking.
Yeah, that totally makes sense. I think so from my perspective, but I mean, like, I think more people should chime in. What I'm sort of sensing is a priority right now is trying to make the tests on both the CL and the EL, because that could basically be a deciding factor of fossil inclusion in the next fork. So yeah, I think I would want to prioritize this over like rebasing efforts if
Okay.
possible, like just for 1 month. But
Mm-hmm.
literally in 1 month we'll have like the decision of CFI or not, and then and then we should rebase it in any case, like whether it's CFI or not. But
Yeah.
it would be like an effort that we will need to do anyways.
Yeah, sure. That sounds reasonable. Yeah, why not?
Okay, awesome. Does it sound good with everyone else?
I think when we wanna consider rebasing FOCIL onto Flu, another point that we wanna consider is that we wanna check like if Peer Dive is stabilized enough, because as far as I remember, we avoided rebasing FOCIL onto FOLU as pure depth was unstable back in the days. I wasn't following a pure depth development, so I'm not sure if it's stabilized enough. But if it's not stabilized enough yet, then we wanna wait a few months more, because like it might be a hassle to just making FOCIL work on top of like unstable pure depth if it is unstable. So yeah.
Right. Yeah, that's a good point. So, okay. So then let's say for sure, let's not touch it for 1 month. And in 1 month, let's reevaluate. And by that time, I'll definitely try to find out if it's all stable or if it's like changing a ton. I agree. Like if it's just like minor changes, I think it's fine and we can probably live with it because in any case, like it's actually diverging and we will need to do it anyways. But yeah, that's definitely a good point to think about when we talk about it in a month. Great. Any other questions? So yeah, with Jihoon, we sat down with Katya at some point and looked at the CL and EL metrics for FOCIL, which I think was nice and will be very useful. And yeah, there was also like a comment by the account abstraction team. I'll probably just write it down before I talk about it. But yeah, like as a builder, let's say solo builder, when you build a block, you have to like check if transactions that were not included in the block are valid or not to determine whether the block satisfied the IL conditions or not. And yeah, doing it that way, can lead to some like worst cases in terms of computation time for local builders, which I don't think it's like the end of the world, but like should still be probably considered. And so an idea would be to ask the builder, whether it's like a local builder or an out of local builder, to include a sort of like IL hint list to indicate where that the transaction was executed in the block, or like the attempt of execution was in the block. So yeah, so the builder doesn't have to like sort of like try a lot of different combinations for including IL transactions in its payload in the first place. I think that's definitely something we will need in any case in the future. I've started to think quite a lot about like how FOCIL fits with ZKVMs and statelessness, and I think this sort of IL hint or IL sidecar thing will need to like exist in the future anyway, so we might as well. But yeah, that's just like the rough idea. I will try to write something so people can also just like look at the doc and see how it would affect FOCIL, and we make a decision based on it. But it's not a big deal. It's just like a helper basically to avoid like having to append IL transactions to the end of the payload. So yeah, just wanted to mention it here, but I will definitely write something about it. Does anyone else have other questions? Okay, if not, we can probably wrap this up. It was a very short one, but that was expected given the intro last week. And we'll go back to a more like normal, I think, schedule starting in 2 weeks with like more presentations and sort of like more content to go on. In the meantime, exactly. In the meantime, yeah, thanks all for coming and see you next time.